before he even had a chance. The team that drafted him in the lottery, the Sacramento Kings, gave up on him after just one season. By his third year, the NBA media labeled him a wannabe all-star. With 18 seconds left in a game, he stepped back, missed, and the announcer mocked him the fake all-star with the big miss. Later, in a league-wide poll, active players even voted him the most overrated player in the entire NBA. Think about that. Not the fans, not the media, his own peers. But instead of folding, Tyrese Haliburton answered. He hit game winners. He made clutch shots. He silenced the noise, step by step, possession by possession. This is the story of a skinny point guard with an awkward jumper who was disrespected at every level of basketball. The kid who wasn't even a top recruit, and how he fought his way from being overlooked to becoming one of the brightest stars in the NBA. And in the process, he didn't just prove the doubters wrong, he changed the game.
Before Tyrese Haliburton was cooking NBA All-Stars and hitting game winners, he was just a skinny kid from Oshkosh, Wisconsin. He had everything you'd want in a point guard: vision, patience, leadership, the ability to make everyone around him better. But critics only focused on what they thought he didn't have. They mocked his awkward jumper, doubted his ceiling, laughed at his 160-pound frame. Opposing fans even shouted about how weak he looked, yet none of that broke him. As a senior, Haliburton dominated. He averaged 23 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, nearly 4 steals, and a block per game, carrying his team to its first ever state championship. Under the brightest lights, he dropped 30 points and went a perfect 18 for 18 at the line, proving he was clutch when it mattered most. You'd think a performance like that would earn him 5-star status. Wrong. Scouts dismissed him as just a 3-star recruit. 27 guards were ranked above him, and at 172nd overall, his name barely appeared on recruiting lists. Looking back, he admitted, "I was a no-star in high school. People said 3-star, but I felt like a no-star." And that chip on his shoulder became fuel. Fuel that would one day take him all the way to NBA superstardom.
Most of the players ranked ahead of him never even touched the G League, but while others ignored him, Iowa State took the gamble. And it didn't take long for Tyrese Haliburton to prove him right. In just his 10th college game, he dished out 17 assists with only 1 turnover, a ridiculous performance that showed a glimpse of his future. By his sophomore season, he didn't just improve, he exploded. His scoring doubled from 7 to 15 points per game. He averaged 6.5 assists, and he shot over 40% from 3. Suddenly, that awkward jumper everyone laughed at was cash, and his strange passing angles were turning heads across the country. Whispers grew louder. Maybe this skinny guard with the funky form was actually a future star. But just as the hype reached its peak, disaster struck. Going up to block a shot against Kansas State, Tyrese fell awkwardly and fractured his wrist. In a single moment, his season was over. For many, it looked like the dream had ended before it could truly begin.
On paper, Tyrese Haliburton looked like a dream prospect. His efficiency was elite, his passing sharp, his turnovers low. But one injury in college brought back all the old doubts. Could this skinny kid really handle the NBA? Scouts praised him, but draft night told a different story. Teams kept passing, and when Detroit chose Killian Hayes over him, it cut deep. Haliburton later admitted that snub stung the most. Finally, at pick 12, Sacramento took him. And from the moment he stepped on the floor, it was clear they had stolen a star. As a rookie, he averaged 13 points, 5 assists, and drilled over 40% from 3, playing with a calm and confidence far beyond his years. He looked like a veteran trapped in a rookie's body. By his second season, the growth was undeniable. Flashy passes, clutch shots, and a poise that instantly made him a fan favorite. He wasn't loud, he wasn't cocky, but every time he touched the ball, he elevated the Kings. A kid who teams doubted was already proving he belonged, and he wasn't just good, he was special. Out of nowhere, everything changed. No warning, just a call from his agent. The Kings were trading Tyrese Haliburton to Indiana for Domantas Sabonis. The basketball world couldn't believe it. J.J. Redick went on air and called it malpractice. Fans called it betrayal, and even his teammates thought it was a joke until the news broke for real. Tyrese was only 21, already putting up strong numbers, already showing flashes of being the future. To him, this wasn't just business. It felt like rejection, like being told he wasn't good enough. He later admitted he thought his agent was messing with him, but minutes later it was real. Sacramento had given up on him. That stake cut deep, but it also lit something inside him. What looked like a dismissal became the start of one of the NBA's greatest revenge arcs. Because Haliburton wasn't going to fold, he was going to make the entire league regret ever doubting him.
In Indiana, Tyrese didn't just start fresh, he took over. The moment he put on a Pacers jersey, everything changed. His first games were pure statements, slick passes, fearless threes, confident drives, all sending one clear message: he belonged. Within his first week, he dropped 21 points and 14 assists in a win over the Wizards, showing control far beyond his years. Over his first 26 games, he averaged 17 points, nearly 10 assists, and shot close to 50% from the field and 40% from three. More importantly, Indiana's entire culture shifted. The Pacers had been stuck in mediocrity for years without a true leader, but suddenly they had a point guard who could score, facilitate, and dictate the game like a veteran. For the first time in years, fans believed again. Tyrese had proven Sacramento wrong, but the NBA world wasn't done testing him. By December 2022, he was playing the best basketball of his career, leading the league in assists, flirting with 50-40-90 shooting splits, and carrying the Pacers to wins nobody expected. To Indiana, he was already a star. But on national TV, after a big win, former NBA player Wally Szczerbiak mocked him as a wannabe all-star. The comment was brutal. A guy who barely made one all-star himself was dismissing everything Tyrese had worked for, calling him fake, a fraud. For many young players, that kind of disrespect could crush confidence. But Tyrese didn't fire back with words. He responded with his game. The very next night, against the Celtics, he dropped 33 points, hitting dagger after dagger down the stretch. Announcers called it a killer, absolute killer. As if that wasn't enough, he followed it up by torching the Miami Heat for 43 points, burying a cold-blooded game winner with seconds left. Back-to-back masterpieces, back-to-back answers. Tyrese didn't clap back, didn't rant on social media. He just stared Szczerbiak down the next time they crossed paths. And that silence spoke louder than any words could. Days later, Szczerbiak went on air and apologized, admitting Tyrese belonged in the All-Star conversation. But the ultimate validation came soon after, when Haliburton was officially named an NBA All-Star for the first time. From being doubted as too skinny, traded away after one season, mocked as a wannabe, Tyrese Haliburton rose through every test. At just 22 years old, he wasn't just proving his critics wrong, he was proving himself right, and doing it with brilliance, maturity, and a quiet fire that couldn't be denied.
That season, he averaged 20 points and 10 assists, proving he wasn't just efficient, but one of the best playmakers in the game. Still, critics weren't ready to buy in. Some doubted the hype, and the harshest voices came from places nobody expected. By 2023 and 2024, Tyrese Haliburton wasn't just Indiana's point guard, he was their identity. He ran the show, led the league in assists, made back-to-back All-Star appearances, and earned his first All-NBA selection. He carried the Pacers to the Eastern Conference Finals, drilling clutch threes that made the league finally take notice. 2 straight years of 20 and 10, and it was undeniable. Haliburton was a star. Those 11 teams that passed on him in 2020 were threats. The wannabe all-star noise from 2022? Trash. By 2024, coaches had to build entire game plans around slowing him down. So when 2025 rolled in, expectations were sky high. The Pacers added Pascal Siakam. Tyrese came back from the summer with an Olympic gold medal on his chest. He was confident, seasoned, and suddenly in MVP conversations. This was supposed to be his coronation, but instead of smooth sailing, the storm hit. The Pacers stumbled out of the gate. Tyrese's shooting slipped, turnovers piled up, and Indiana lost heartbreaking close games. The same media that once hyped him now turned, saying the Pacers would even make the playoffs. Then came the gut punch, an anonymous player poll. His own peers, the guys who battled him every night, voted him the most overrated player in the league. 14% of the league pointed at him, more than anyone else. For Tyrese, it wasn't just criticism, it was public humiliation. But Haliburton didn't clap back with interviews or call-outs. He responded the only way real stars do, on the court. In March 2025, he flipped the switch, averaging 26 points and 11 assists while leading the Pacers to a 15-5 record to close the season. Indiana locked up the 3rd seed, and suddenly the overrated label looked like a joke. Reporters asked if the poll motivated him. He just smiled. It didn't impact how I play at all. I must be doing something right. That's the essence of Tyrese Haliburton. He doesn't fit the NBA's typical superstar mold. He doesn't play with ego. He makes the right basketball play. He passes when the defense collapses, shoots when he's open, and trusts his teammates to deliver when they have the advantage. That's why his locker room loves him, and why his opponents despise playing against him. He's not flashy for the cameras, he's brutally efficient, dangerously unselfish, and quietly rewriting what it means to be a modern superstar.
Tyrese Haliburton has gone from being called a wannabe all-star to putting together one of the most magical playoff runs we've ever seen. Back-to-back all-star seasons, 2 straight years averaging over 20 points and 10 assists, and now this clutch playoff performance that has the entire league stunned. He's making history every night, hitting impossible shots in the final seconds, playing with poise and fearlessness that you can't teach. And whether the Pacers win the finals or not, nothing can erase what he's already accomplished. He's proven every doubter wrong, turned humiliation into fuel, and carried Indiana to heights nobody thought possible. Think about it, just a few years ago, 11 teams passed on him. Players voted him most overrated, and analysts dismissed him as a role player. Now he's dropping game winners in Madison Square Garden, eliminating MVPs, and forcing the NBA world to say his name with respect. That's not just redemption, that's legacy building. And here's the crazy part, he's only getting started. At 25, Tyrese Haliburton has already broken the mold of what an NBA superstar is supposed to look like. No ego, no drama, just pure skill, unselfishness, and ice in his veins when it matters most. The kid with the unorthodox jumper, the so-called overrated point guard, has become the face of a franchise and maybe, just maybe, the future face of the league. So what do you think? Is Tyrese Haliburton already an NBA superstar, or does he still need that championship to silence the critics for good? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you want more wild NBA stories like this one, make sure to hit subscribe and check out the next video right here.